right. Hello, Twitch, and hello, YouTube. We are trying something a little bit new today. We're double checking some things real quick. We're having fun today. So, let's see if the stream comes up. We're trying out streaming both to YouTube and to Twitch today. Twitch we've been doing for a few days now, and we're going to try YouTube for the first time today and see how that works. See if the software holds up. See if my bandwidth holds up, and see if people like it. If you are going to watch this on YouTube, either now or later, because of my setup and the way my screens are arranged and everything, seeing chat on more than one platform that's a little bit too much to handle. So I've got chat pulled up on a separate screen right over here. So it's in my peripheral vision, and I will see it if you are on Twitch. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you have a question that you want to ask and maybe get answered live on the spot about gear, about why I've got this crazy wire hanging down, about the microphone, about the software, about what's my interface or what have you, why am I using an earbud rather than cans, whatever you've got, please head over to twitch.tv/Jimmy Veteran Audio. There's a link in the description of this video on the live stream there. Head over there. It's going to be much easier for me to respond to chat if all that stuff comes into one place rather than bouncing back from place to place. But I'm checking, and it looks like, well, we got to check and make sure that that the Twitch stream is good to go. So we're starting a little bit early so that we can check and make sure everything is good to go. So bear with me while we do some checks here. Let's see here. Checking live. Making sure. Okay, looks good. And I'm going to trust that we've got audio. If we don't, let's see here. Okay, we've got audio. Good. All right. I'm happy with that. I'm going to say that we're good to go. So we're going to switch over to pure chat mode here on my second screen so that I'm not distracted by looking at my own dumb face here. Can we please? Oh, Twitch. Why are you the way that you are? Twitch is a special platform, especially on mobile. It really, oh boy. But glad that folks are in here hanging out. Like I said, hit me with questions, and I'll do my best to answer in an intelligent way. Yeah, let's see here. Chat is going to bring it up. All right, chat is up. I've got it in my peripheral vision. If you're on YouTube, like I said, head over to Twitch. It's going to be much easier for me to respond to and keep track of chat there. Little bit about me, if this is the first time, especially over on YouTube, if you're just checking it out. I am Jimmy Moreland. I am a full-time voice actor and audiobook narrator. I do have several other streams of income, as any voice actor, except for the very top tier, will tell you in this business. Diversification of your streams of income will not only help with making your bills month by month, but it'll help smooth out the highs and lows, because they do come in this business. Now, I am not a super industry veteran. You haven't heard me on a McDonald's commercial. I'm relatively new. I've only been at the voiceover commercial side of things. I've only been at that for about a year or so. On the audiobook narration side, I've been at that for a few years now. I've got over 30 books under my belt, so I'm not a super seasoned pro by any means on the audiobook side, but I do have a little bit more of a sense of what the hell I'm doing there. But on the commercial voiceover side of things, we're all learning together. So if you learn something from my mistakes, then all the better. But certainly don't take anything that I have to say or do here as gospel. We're all learning together. So what we're going to be doing on the stream is we're going to be going through sort of the daily tranche of voiceover auditions that have come through. And you're going to see my actual work process, all of the mistakes that I make when I'm trying to talk into the microphone. And you're also going to see how I make my decisions on whether or not to submit an audition. and we'll be on the two main voiceover casting websites that are pay to play. That'll be voices.com and voice123.com. We don't do Fiverr or Upwork. We don't do anything like that. Any of the direct marketing stuff that I do, that's all done off stream. It's an important part of anyone's business, and I definitely need to improve my own. But for the live streams, we're just doing the live auditions for the casting websites. So we're going to go ahead and head over that. I'm working in Pro Tools. Any DAW, digital audio workstation, any DAW, anything I'm doing here today and any other day is going to essentially be the same. Pro Tools is definitely overkill for anyone doing voiceover. You can absolutely get all of this done even in something free like Audacity, or if you've got, your Adobe Creative Suite subscription going, then you can absolutely do what I'm doing in Audition. You can do it in Reaper, in Studio One, in Logic, in Cubase. You can do it in just about any DAW out there. There's really nothing special about Pro Tools. It's just what I have become accustomed to because of my music background. But I would never recommend Pro Tools to anyone who values their sanity in general. So let's jump right into it. We are going to start on voices.com today. And Voices, let's see here. So this is going to be a short Voices portion today because I am going to tell you I'm probably going to audition for none of these. And we're going to see why. First of all, and a really obvious one here, I would probably be a good fit. I've got a 100% voice match on this. That's the way voices.com does their sort of algorithmic matching for folks. And I've put a lot of work in on the back end for myself to get myself to a 100% voice match on things that I generally really am suited for. This is going to be like, it looks like a really nice e-learning project. It says video narration, but they probably, it seems like they mean for this to be an e-learning, especially considering the length, the duration of this. And the budget is fine, even though this is a bit longer. But for e-learning, you'll tend to see lower budgets for longer products there. Non-broadcast in perpetuity, very standard to see on e-learning type products. The voice age, the role, the style, all of these really, really just totally standard. Looking to modernize an existing video. Again, all of this is the kind of stuff that you'll see. The script looks super straightforward. And in any other case, excuse me, I would absolutely be going for this. But, important to see, there are 101 people in line in front of me. So the odds of my being heard by this client are astronomically low. It is so unlikely that this client, Image S, it is so unlikely that they're going to listen to me. And that's not dinging Image S. Image S is also probably a very busy person. They've got 159 reviews. That means they post a lot of jobs on voices.com and probably other places. So they're busy. They don't have time to listen to 100 plus responses. So they're probably going to just start listening. And as soon as they hear the first 3 to 5 voices that are like, yeah, these are good enough, these will probably work. Once they get enough of a short list to where they feel fine submitting those to the end client, say, hey, pick from these 3 to 5, they're going to stop. And they might get those 3 to 5 excellent, shortlistable voices within the first 20 auditions that they received. So that's a big reason why you need to be early on voices.com and really any casting site. You want to be early. And so maybe I need to start this live stream a little bit earlier and see if we can start getting some earlier responses. But I think it's just as valuable to show what kind of decisions you need to make as a voice talent, and to respect your own time and skip things that are incredibly unlikely to bear fruit. So we're going to archive that one. Likewise, this one here, 72 people ahead of me in line, and I'm only a 90% voice match. I'm not going to waste time looking at the rest of the audition call because it's so unlikely that I'll be listened to. Here's another one, 68 responses in front of me. Yeah, I'm a 100% voice match, but I'm not going to get listened to. Here's another one, 73 responses. Archive that. This one, 42 responses, and the budget's really good. It is a long project, so the budget's, we'll have to consider what we're actually reading here. So, interesting here. Project includes sensitive and sexual subject matter. I'm curious if this is like a testimonial. It's just it's like an advertisement for some kind of ED treatment or something. This is something I would have no problem reading. On stream, however, I don't want to get flagged or anything for reading certain things. So I'm actually going to just chill on this, and I'll probably do this off stream. I know that's probably not what folks want to hear. That's no fun. But for the sake of not getting this account flagged on my very first YouTube live stream, I've been doing Twitch for a little bit, but I don't want to get it flagged on my very first YouTube live outing. So we're going to skip that, and maybe I'll come back and do that off stream. Now, emails will roll in throughout the day. It's not like Voices like collects them all and releases them all at like 9 a.m. Eastern or something like that. Voices.com releases jobs as they come in. So if you are at your computer, in your booth, ready to hit record, then you have the opportunity to be first. So that's what we're doing here. Yeah, a few jobs rolled in overnight, but really us being in here during the live stream, we're waiting for these emails to come in. And so while we're waiting for those to come in, we'll go and see what's happening on Voice123. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and hit refresh just to make sure we've got the freshest details here. Political radio ad. First, we got to check out what the content is. As House Revenue and Tax Chairman, he believes citizens of Bingham and Butte counties deserve a fighter. So this is troubling because so for politicals, it's there was a time that with politicals you could do both sides of the aisle. You could absolutely, as a voice talent, you could do both. You could do Democratic and Republican. You could do liberal and conservative. You could do just about anything you wanted with your voice. Nowadays, however, that is not the case. If I go and do a whole bunch of conservative ad reads and then I audition for a progressive ad read, that client is going to be like, wait, do you care about this? Do you believe this at all? Like, yeah, we are actors. We should be able to portray just about anything. But authenticity is the watchword nowadays in voiceover. And it also matters that with the internet, people can look things up. People can look up, oh, who voiced that ad? Okay, this is a progressive ad. And who voiced it? This guy was at January 6th. Like, people can do that kind of research, and that kind of thing can blow up in a brand's face or in a candidate's face. And so you gotta, and if you really do care enough and you're interested in doing politicals, then you should care enough to pick a side and stick with it. There's enough work to do on any side. And if you're just desperate to get the work to where you're going to do anything, that stink of desperation, trademark, stink of desperation is going to come off when you're approaching clients. And so that's another reason they probably won't want to book you. So go with your true feelings, whatever you identify with. Commit to that. Don't compromise, whether it be on a political ad or, some other commercial read or what have it. If you are a strong faith-driven Christian, then don't do that ad read for the Church of Scientology or Satanism or whatever. Like, obviously, you got to have a stake in the ground at some point for whatever you believe. Hey, how's it going? What's up? Fight Goog, we're gonna say. Fit Goog. What's up? Thanks for stopping by the stream. Hit me with any questions. I hope your day is going all right. We're talking auditions. We're on Voice123, and we've got a political audition here, and we're we're taking a long walk to discuss why we're not going to do this audition. We might do a couple seconds of research here to actually confirm that. So this is everything I was saying there. You need to commit to things and be authentic about it. And so for political reads, I personally do have strong convictions about my own personal politics. And we're not going to talk about, that's not the purpose of this live stream. However, when it comes to political ad reads, the problem with this is that nowhere in this job posting does it identify, oh, I'm sorry. I need to, RTFP, read the effing post. It does identify right here. Promotion of a conservative political candidate. Now, I probably could have sussed that out by Idaho. Idaho is the most conservative state in the United States, even more so than Utah or Alabama. And, you know, I probably could have sussed it out by just some of the stuff that they're talking about here. But they do, thankfully, they do say it straight out, and that's great. But for that reason and all the reasons we've talked about, this is going to be a no for me, dog. We're going to pass on that one. But good luck to that client and to whoever auditions for that and hopefully books it and delivers a stellar performance here. Agro-tourism. So let's see here. A verbal end tag. Looks like this will probably be super, super short, 32 words. So this, let's see here, how many do they have? They've got 13 proposals already in. They're looking for a quote, a quote from the talent, which is always something that I am hesitant to commit to. It looks like it'll probably be a short duration buyout. It does say buyout. Unlimited usage on TV and radio throughout upstate New York for a few months. So when you say unlimited usage and you say a few months, those are a little bit conflicting, but you know, different terms mean different things, and that's all right. So we're going to look at, we're going to go over here, and we're going to, well, first, let's peek at the email that just came in. So we've got a voices.com job that just came through. So Voices, timeliness is more important because of the way things get distributed. 0 responses so far. So let's see if we're right for this. Let's see if we're right for this. And if we are, we're just going to jump into it. Looking for natural, youthful voice. Youthful. That's probably not me. Let's take a look here, though. Think conversational yet engaging with a touch of passion and encouragement. You're talking directly to a young person bursting with creative ideas. I'm more of your crusty, jaded guy. So, voice talent, know thyself. We're going to pass on this one. But good luck to whoever books that. Good luck to someone with a youthful sounding voice. So this one, I'm really curious about this one. Quick read, energetic, exciting, young, fun. Actually, you know what? Here we go. Young and fun. Maybe there was a time I was young and fun, but my voice has probably really never been young and fun I've sounded like this since I was 16. So I don't know that this is going to be me. And the one that we just archived over on voices.com, maybe I should have gone ahead and done it anyway, because on Voices, you don't get dinged by the algorithm for doing things that you're not a perfect fit for. Voice123, however, you do get dinged by the algorithm if you submit something that you're not a perfect fit for. So if I submit this, the client really is they really mean it, that they're looking for a young sounding voice, a young and fun voice. Obviously, when they hear my voice, they're like, what is this? And so it's not like they're going to there's no downvote or anything like that in the system, but they're certainly not going to give me a thumbs up or a like or whatever. And they're not going to book me. And that is what dings you in the algorithm. If a client listens to you or doesn't listen to you and doesn't like or hire you, that, in the aggregate, that hurts you on Voice123. So when you submit for something, you want to be damn sure that you are a good fit for the job, that you can nail whatever the script is, that you've got a good proposal. Like, you need to have confidence in every audition you submit on Voice123. Voices.com, man, it's a free-for-all. If something looks like fun, something that you're vaguely interested in, fire off an audition. There is no downside to submitting every stinking audition you can. There really isn't a downside. You might annoy clients that are there frequently. Maybe, yeah, maybe. But there's not really a downside algorithmically speaking. So we're going to pass on this one because they're looking for exciting, young, fun. Maybe I'm one of those three. I don't know. I'm certainly not all three of them. Let's see. Do we have, that's the one we already saw, so we're going to archive that in our email. It's a good idea to have some kind of email notification that will not necessarily pop up or make a noise, but if that's what you need to get a notification, to be aware the moment an email comes in, because particularly on voices.com, that's how you get in early. That's how you be first in line to a job. Voice123, everything's different. It's a totally different ballgame. The other way that I really quickly am going to flesh out jobs that I'm not going to audition for on Voice123 is if they are over the requested amount of proposals. Your likelihood of being listened to is basically zero. And again, not being listened to on Voice123 hurts you in the algorithm. So the three folks who have already submitted auditions after the cap, they're very likely going to get dinged in the algorithm, and that's a real bummer for them. It's a bummer for everybody. I wish the algorithm didn't work that way, and maybe someone from Voice123 can correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it's only if you are listened to and then not liked. Maybe a non-listen is a neutral event as far as the algorithm is concerned. I don't know that for sure. But either way, at best, it seems like, at best, this is a waste of time. At worst, it's going to hurt me in the algorithm. So I'm not going to do anything that's over the amount of requested proposals. So as fun as doing a Ron Burgundy impression would be, we're not going to do it. Likewise, we're at the list here, at the limit here. Switzerland event voiceover artist. I'm curious what kind of accent they're looking for. Let's see here. Are they looking for... Yeah, they need a bilingual talent. So they're looking for... this is why they've put these two particular things here. They're looking for a Québécois or a French talent who can do so. Mesdames et messieurs, bienvenue à Montréal. Yeah, no, that's not me. Like, for an audiobook, sometimes you have to do these kinds of things. Other languages will appear in your text sometimes, and you have to do some research. If you don't speak that language, natively or fluently, then yeah, you're going to have to do some research, and you have to really bust your ass to get those kinds of passages right. But for a commercial voiceover audition, and when authenticity, once again, is the name of the game in voiceover casting, we're obviously not going to do this one. That would be silly, silly, silly. And you saw that the rate for that one was quite high, $1,500 for a short thing. And that is when you are looking for more and more, not just niche talent, but where the skills that are brought to bear by the talent are more unique. Like, that makes them valuable. So anytime you're looking for bilingual talent, the client should be paying a premium. So if you're, obviously a lot of clients in Texas, in the border states, a lot of those ads, they do campaigns simultaneously for English-speaking and Spanish-speaking audiences. Even the ads, internal to the ads, will have sections of the ad that are in English and in Spanish. Living in Houston and listening to La Raza, a lot of the ads were, Spanglish is a strange and funny word, but it describes what's happening in some of those ads really, really well, and so that was always interesting. Shout out to my friends at La Raza. Okay, so a couple things going on. with this audition. This is an audiobook. So first of all, audiobooks on Voice123, I rarely see them posted with a fair market rate listed as the rate on this particular website. I just don't see them. Maybe they get closed out by people in the top 5% of talent on this website, so I never get to see them as someone in the top 20%, which I climbed my way up to from the bottom. That's a man. That is a caution. I let me stand as your cautionary tale on Voice123. If you jump in without a care for the algorithm will make itself known and let you know that you are doing wrong. I jumped in with both feet and I ruined myself in the algorithm. Within a week or two, I found myself in the bottom 20% of talent on Voice123. It took months to climb myself back up into the top 20%. There's no further granularity, like there's no 5 or even single digit granularity to whatever tier that you're in. So I don't know if I'm close to being in 10% or if I'm close to sliding back down to 30%, but I'm in the top 20%, and that feels a lot better than being in the bottom 20%. And so I'm finally seeing and booking jobs that are worth my time as far as I'm concerned. So let's take a look at this job. Stop blabbing here. So first of all, a reason that I would not do this audition at all whatsoever is this first number right here. 12.5% of proposals reviewed. This person doesn't listen to anything. So why would I potentially ding myself in the algorithm when they're not even going to listen to what I've done? The audiobook is it's a textbook, so it's going to be probably very long. They're talking about here, say, 556 pages, highly technical diagrams, tables, and blueprints. I'd like to know if this client has a plan for how to present those in an audiobook format. There are ways to do that. Audible in particular, within the app, there is a way for an audiobook to include a PDF with images or photographs or whatever the project needs to include. I've done products like that, and there are fun and interesting ways that you can incorporate references to that PDF. Whether it's sort of a textbook style thing like that, you can be a lot less formal and just go like, hey, at this time, if you'd like, refer to page 7 in the included PDF to see what we're talking about here. But I had a project where it was fiction. It was a novel, a story. And it was sort of a little bit of a like a Dan Brown, like an Angels and Demons type of situation where the main character was like trying to break a code, and it was sort of like a puzzle, and like you kind of wanted to see it to really be able to understand what we were talking about. And this happened multiple times throughout the story. And so we figured that the most efficient way, that the most satisfying and non-intrusive way to solve this problem was to simply have a short, like a musical cue. And we settled on I gave the client a few options, like little piano things, like a sort of a generic ding. We settled on a really simple piano thing, and when it came time in the text where there would be a break and you would see the puzzle or what have you, this little piano thing would play, and then I would just carry on narrating. And during the opening of the book, where the credits happen here, that's where we explained this audio book contains references to items that are going to be referenced in this PDF. Whenever you hear this sound, ding, you can refer to the PDF that's included in the app. And the client was really, really happy with it. It worked really smoothly, and I think I hope listeners enjoyed that. This is all to say, I'm curious about how this client would handle technical diagrams, tables, and blueprints. Don't know. And then we've got basically ad copy about the book. I'm not interested in that. I don't need to know that. Really, really short audition script. And then another reason is this looking for a quote. So the problem on Voice123 with any job that's looking for a quote is if you quote too high, well, even if the talent likes your voice, well, the quote's way too high, we're not going to book them. You're not going to get a like on your audition because my understanding is that most clients on Voice123 use the like system as a really easy way to shortlist potential candidates for hire. So if your quote is way too high for their budget, then they're not going to like you. Why would they shortlist you if you're way outside of budget? That would make no sense. So with audiobooks in particular, there's a lack of client education out there of how much it does and should cost to get an audiobook produced. Reading 2 lines for commercial copy, it doesn't take a lot of time. And so the rates that can get really quite high, that's all about usage. Where is this going to be used? For how long? How am I going to be conflicted out of other things? Audiobooks, the rate is based on my time. The rate is, okay, this book is going to be 556 pages. We don't know how many words per page that is, but let's just say it's going to be a 30-hour audiobook, a really long audiobook. Me, I'm quite fast, but that's going to take me upwards of 100, maybe not 100, maybe 90, let's call it 80 hours of work. 2 full weeks of work in a traditional 9-to-5 job. Most even high stamina audiobook narrators can't narrate for 8 hours a day. That is physically impossible. We would lose our voices, and certainly not 5 days a week. You just can't do that. I cap out at about 2 hours of narrating per day. So I can only narrate 2 hours a day. I know my ratios in my own head. I know it's going to take me about, for a 30-hour book, that's going to be about 60 hours of narrating. 60 hours in the booth just talking into the microphone, let alone all the editing and stuff that has to go with it. And I can only narrate about 2 hours a day. So that's 30 work days. So that's a month or more. I don't take a lot of days off. So a month or more of work where the opportunity cost is I can't do any other audiobook work. So you're going to have to compensate me for my time and opportunity cost. So for a 30-hour book, I will need, doing the math inside my head, if this is a 30-hour book, and the math inside my head says I need $7,500 at least. And that is based on a $250 per finished hour, which is the industry standard according to the GVAA rate guide. If you want to get into this business on the talent side, highly recommend familiarizing yourself, having a bookmark to it, or at least just knowing, oh, how do I quote XYZ? Your first thought should always be the GVAA rate guide. If you just Google that, you'll find it, and there are suggested rates for not every situation, but it'll get you in the ballpark for your particular situation. And audiobooks are included there. And there's even breakdowns for, well, are you editing this? Is this a union or a non-union job? All of these kinds of things. And based on that and based on my own where I am in my career journey and what I need to pay the bills and rates that I've found that clients are willing to pay, $250 per finished hour works for me. So all of that is to say, we're passing on this audition. We're not going for it. And just that. I want to do this big, crazy, it's not long, but I'm going to do this whole audition here, and the guy's not even going to listen to it. Nah, man. Nah. Get out of here. Let's look at this. VAB student voices, young adult voices. Again, that's not me. Sometimes this is how it goes. We've gone through all the jobs on Voices and Voice123. None of them were right for us. That doesn't mean, the day is young. It's only 2:30 Eastern time, and a lot of these jobs are going to be posted way over on Pacific time. So there are many hours yet left in the day for those jobs to roll in. But we've got one more place that we're going to look for audition work, and that is ACX. So we're going to go ahead, head over there, refresh. and you really should be looking. So, Voices in Voice123, you should have your email set up to where you get a ping every single time an audition comes in. You really should. ACX, I don't think there is a way to have any kind of alert set up for like, hey, if a project comes along with all of these attributes, send me an email. I don't think there's a way to set up that email. So you got to check ACX every day. Voices in Voice123 sort of does the work for you and alerts you when there's a project that fits your parameters. But ACX, you need to check it every day. And so because of that, when you do load it up, annoyingly, right now, ACX isn't saving every filter. So like every single time I have to come in here and be like, please only clients that are looking for male voices. So you see that cleared off that top item because they were looking for a female narrator. I've already looked at this and everything before it. I haven't submitted auditions for all of these because just like with voiceover, with audiobooks, not everything is a fit for every person. But so this is the newest one here. Let's take a look here at what we've got. So immediately my spidey sense is buzzing a little bit. There is an epidemic of AI generated content in the audiobook space, just like every other space. But there are thousands of titles hitting Amazon every day that are basically just AI generated slop. I'm not saying that's what this is. This may be a very well written, well researched title, and we're going to look more, but you need to be skeptical of just about every audition that you see on ACX or anywhere else. Hydration is important, my friends. So let's look here. We're going to just really quickly just see if anyone's chatting with us. If you do head over to if you're watching this on YouTube, as a reminder, YouTube and Twitch, I don't have like a merged way to see comments from both. So if you do want to live chat with me, ask me questions, please head over to Twitch, twitch.tv/JimmyVeteranAudio. The link is in the description on the YouTube video. Head over there, and it's much easier for me to see it because I've got a tablet right under the camera right here, so I see it pop up. And we've already had some folks coming in to say hi. So please head over there if you do want to chat with me. So looking at this title here, let's go through it step by step. Project length, 9.9 hours. Great, love to see it. If this was a 1 to 3 hour book, I would just be like, this is AI, pass, no way. Budget, obviously, that's my filter. These are the only projects that I'm considering nowadays. All of this looks good. Let's go to the About This title. So sometimes you can, if you really want to dive deep and do some research, you can go like view this title on Amazon. You can go and look at the ratings, like see if there are any reviews. If there are 22 ratings and 0 reviews, that's suspicious. If there are 22 ratings and 22 reviews and they all seem to be like great content, and like that's the entirety of the review, then that's probably been review farmed, and that once again contributes to the idea that this is probably AI generated. Let's see here. Notes, audiobook guide to investing in real estate and building wealth. This line right here makes me think like a real human typed this. Few lengthy formulas, but no charts or images. Like this person has considered the kinds of concerns I might have as an audiobook narrator, like, oh, a real estate investment book, like, oh my God, are there going to be charts and images? Oh, they answered that right here in the description. So this is great. So this is all great. I'm not going to read that whole thing, but we're gonna move on here. Okay, there's a lot of, this is sales ad copy, but the audition is okay. The audition is real book copy. So at some point I'm gonna do a full video on red flags for audiobook stuff. We've been talking about AI, but there are many more red flags that'll pop up that really kind of predate this sort of AI problem, which is a very new problem in this space. One of the red flags, though, to just throw it out there real quick, is if the audition text is ad copy. If the audition text is like reasons you should buy this book, that is a huge, huge red flag. You should not read that. You should not send audio to that person, because the chances are that your audio is going to be stolen and used to cut together a video promo and be posted on social media or somewhere else, and you will never get paid or acknowledged for that. And if they ever do make it into an audiobook, you're probably not going to get hired. They're probably going to use an AI voice. That's just what it is. They'll use a real voice for the promo. They'll steal it and won't pay you, but then they'll use an AI voice for the full read, and maybe they'll train that AI voice on the voice that you supplied for the promo. So maybe it will be your voice, but an AI version of it. How horrible. What a hellscape we live in. That's life, my friends. All right. All that to say, we're going to do this. We've been talking for 40 minutes, and we're finally going to do an audition. Now, I hate the way this is all one solid paragraph, so we're going to drop this into a Google Doc real quick, a Google Doc, and at least double space it, and maybe we'll enter some paragraph breaks just so that we can parse what's going on here. So I'll just hit Docs. Hello, please just go to Google Docs. Blank document. Control-Shift-V, because I don't want it to include any of that. So let's take a look at the difference. Control-V, I guess it's not so bad. Sometimes, though, especially pasting from an embedded window like this, sometimes you'll have all kinds of garbage that comes with it there. But I am still going to do Control-Shift-V, and that is just to paste without formatting from whence it came. So now we're going to do, let's see if Control-2 works, or if that's going to override. Nope, Control-2 doesn't work. So we're going to have to double space this ourselves. Format, spacing, where is spacing? Go ahead and double space it. And now let's just enter. I'm not actually reading this. I'm just guessing where paragraph breaks might make sense. Obviously, scene number 2, we spotted that. That makes sense. I don't know. Is this a person talking? Oh, like a testimonial? Okay, this will be interesting. I like to do my auditions cold, or as close to cold as is feasible. So I'm not going to pre-read this entire thing. When you book an audiobook, you absolutely need to read the thing cover to cover before you hit record. But for the audition, you ain't got time to be pre-reading everything that you read. Obviously, during your read of the audition, if you discover something in paragraph 3 that makes the decisions you made in paragraph 1 inappropriate, then, at that point, you're probably going to have to suck it up and go back and re-record. But generally speaking, cold read. Develop that skill. I'm not the best at it, but 3 years of military radio, reading, wild copy, you develop that skill. Like anything, do some practice. So we're going to practice right now. Here we go. Debt and its relationship with cash flow debt. Wait. Okay. We're going to enter our own parentheses right here. And in fact, we're going to go ahead and do a paragraph break here. This is a section header, debt and its relationship with cash flow. Debt, that's what is meant there. And maybe in the manuscript it does have that formatting and everything is nice and neat, but the way it was copy-pasted into the ACX window, that break was lost. Like, look at that. So I do know that within ACX this happens a lot when I'm messaging with my clients. Line breaks get lost in the ACX message system. And so I bet that this wasn't such a mess, whatever that they pasted in. I'm sure it was a beautifully formatted work of art. But now it's a mess because ACX likes to eliminate all the line breaks. And that's really annoying. I hope ACX changes that in the future. Let's go. Debt and its relationship with cash flow. Debt or leverage is a crucial element in building cash flow. Used in a positive way, debt has a multiplying effect and can literally leverage cash flow and cash-on-cash returns. Because of this, debt is a powerful tool on your journey to 100+ units. Travis: I bought my first house when I was 20 units. Travis: I bought my first house when I was 22 years old. I used a zero-down VA loan and cash flowed the property by renting out rooms to a couple of friends. This was my first real estate purchase. I feel like the rooms was a little weird. Cash flowed the property by renting out rooms to a couple. A little weird. We're gonna go back to. I bought my first house when I was 22 years old. I used a zero-down VA loan and cash flowed the property by renting out rooms to a couple of friends. This was my first real estate purchase and my first experience with using debt to create cash flow and equity. On another occasion, I used the equity from my real estate to start a tech company. I accessed $50,000 against one of my rental properties and was off to the races. In my life, the results of using debt responsibly have been astounding. This includes recently selling my company for over $20 million and growing a real estate portfolio of several hundred units. Mitchell: I have always had a careful relationship with debt. In the beginning, I was rather scared of it and subscribed more to the traditional beliefs of more is bad and less is good. However, over time I've learned more is bad and less is good. However, over time I've learned what it means, how to use it. More is bad and less is good. However, over time I've learned what it means, how to use it, and how to leverage it. Yes, it can be dangerous, but it can also fuel growth. Today, I don't avoid debt. Instead, I use debt to take down great assets, protect myself from inflation, and grow my portfolio to new, responsible levels. Debt has been instrumental to my growth and scale. Without it, I wouldn't be where I am today. With this estimation, as well, So this is a different scene, and they're wanting to see how we handle formulae. So we're actually going to pre-read this to ourselves here. With this estimation, as well as a couple of actual expenses from the seller, you can quickly build a napkin profit and loss statement. Revenue, $15,000. Expenses, $6,750. NOI, $8,250. Annual NOI, $8,250 times 12 equals $99,000. Cap rate, $99,000 divided by 1.2 million equals 0.0825 or 8.25%. Interesting. According to Easy. So I could have done that cold. But now that we really know what we're reading, we should have no problem here. We are going to do something real quick here. This is because of the way I edit and the way I record. I'm doing punch and roll recording, which is why when I hit record, without it, I wouldn't be where I am today. I hear 2 seconds of myself speaking, I start speaking along with myself, and that leads me into the next thing. And at the end of that, I've got a really, really easy edit job. And in fact, 95% of the time, I don't listen to any of my edit points. I don't listen to what I've recorded at all. It's all done by sight. And that means I can give myself some hints visually while I'm editing. When I spot certain things, I know I have to do X, Y, or Z. So here's one of them. Without it, I wouldn't be where I am today. ... Those 3 things. I am never going to make those noises naturally while I'm narrating. And I'm going to place my cursor here and start recording. So I know when I see that shape as I'm zooming through my edit, I know I need to grab this. I need to copy paste in 2 seconds of room tone, 2 seconds of silence, not digital silence, but room tone. I know I need to paste that in there because this is a section break. Not a full-on chapter break, because the way that I work, I do a new track for a new chapter. But for a section break, 2 seconds of room tone is my standard. Some people do shorter or longer. For my pace that I tend to read at, 2 seconds seems to be the right length to go like, we're moving on to something new. But it's not so long that the person listening picks up their phone and goes like, oh, did the app crash? 2 seconds is good for me. So there's my break, and I know that we're starting on this last section here. ... With this estimation, as well as a couple of actual expenses from the seller, you can quickly build a napkin profit and loss statement. Profit. Couple of estimation as let's be a little bit more precise with where we put our play. Couple of actual expenses from the seller. You can quickly build a napkin profit and loss statement. Revenue, $15,000. Expenses, $6,750. NOI, $8,250. $6,750. $6,750. NOI, $8,250. Annual NOI, $8,250 times 12 equals $99,000. Cap rate, $99,000 divided by 1.2 million equals 0.0825, or 8.25%. Interesting. According to quick math, the property is at an 5%. Interesting. According to quick math, the property is at an 5%. Interesting. 5%. Interesting. According to quick math, the property is at an 8.25% percentage cap rate. 5%. Interesting. According to... My monitor made a noise. 5%. Interesting. According to quick math, the property is at an 5%. Interesting. According to quick math, the property is at an 8.25 percentage cap rate based on a $1.2 million purchase price. I might reread that end thing if we were gonna try to nitpick more, but we're not. We're gonna try to be speed racers here. I'm gonna copy my 2 seconds of silence now, so that later on in the edit, I'll be able to paste it in quickly. So we're gonna see how fast this edit process goes. And I'm using my tab hotkey to bounce me forward to the next edit point. So every time I made a mistake and sort of had to back up while I was recording, see, here's my ... And so what I'm doing here is I just grab from the end of one to the start of the other, and I paste in my 2 seconds of silence. And we're off to the races. I already made that edit when I was just messing around. I'll go ahead and do that. Grab the whole thing, hit Control F as my hotkey to open up the crossfade window. As soon as I make this active, we're going to be experiencing some delay because of RX. We'll talk about that in just a second. This is called 0 to 100 units. Okay. All right. So first one, let's go ahead and get this submitted here. Upload the file, 0 to 100. We're gonna paste in a template and then edit it. So I like to put some kind of personal note to an author. Usually it's maybe a little bit of a good idea to pump them up a little bit. I enjoyed this, really like these characters. Here, there's obviously no characters. And to also sort of personalize yourself, make the author see you as a human and not just like, oh, like another, faceless voice that's come in. And also to, if you've got a special connection to the text or some kind of unique aspect of your background, whether it's, resume-based or hobby-based or what have you. And so for here, usually what that means is that I will make some kind of mention that I am a military veteran. Sometimes that's really, really helpful. Obviously, a lot of what I book is like military sci-fi. And especially if the author is military, mentioning that you are also former military, that's just it's free real estate. But in this case, maybe I'll work in some kind of like military mention. But what I will absolutely mention is that I have an MBA. I have a master's in business. And here I am doing voice work for a living. So that shows what good that's done me. But my Excel spreadsheets are on point. But I will mention that I have an MBA because that makes me more comfortable with talking about some of the things that they're likely going to talk about in this book. They're talking about, cap rates and things like that. So I've got some experience, some familiarity with some of those terms, and I certainly have the capacity to learn anything that I don't have direct experience with because I didn't have a real estate focused MBA or anything. So let's see here. Maybe I'll say just like takes me back to my MBA. So I'm not like it's a pretty transparent like humble brag or whatever that like, hey, I've got an MBA, but it's still I'm kind of buttering up, being a bit chummy with the author, be like, this takes me back. And if any of these authors have MBAs, they'll be like, oh man, I know what you're talking about. Like those late nights, the back-to-back papers and exams, like, there's a bit of commiseration, and that's the exact same reason veterans connect to each other because like, oh, you're a veteran too. Oh, let's talk about Southern Afghanistan or whatever. There's a shared experience that you can tap into, and so that's what I'm betting on here. I'm betting on there's a shared experience aspect, and that this lends credibility to my ability to handle just about anything that they might throw at me in this book. Let's see here. I've produced 30 plus audiobooks. Here, let's see. It takes me back to my MBA. I won't mention that I'm a military veteran. Uh, don't mention you're a veteran. Difficulty level impossible here. To include financial, finance finance heavy nonfiction like this. And that's true. I have projects. I have produced finance heavy nonfiction. You don't want to lie, because if this person does some Googling and finds out like, oh, you've only done YA fantasy, then that's obviously a problem. Double check that you haven't made a fool of yourself. Read it to yourself. Enjoy this excerpt. Take me back to my MBA. I've produced 30 plus audiobooks to include finance heavy nonfiction projects like this. I'm having any blah, 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 blah. Good to go. Submit, fire, and forget. Do not come back and check to see if this rights holder has made a hiring decision or blah, 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 blah. Never do that. I've gotten 29 messages in my inbox. I guarantee none of them are offers. And I know that because this is an important sort of mental health thing that you can do. Within Gmail, you can set up filters. So if an email contains this exact string of text, archive it immediately or bounce it or do whatever with it. And I have set up, when you do auditions on ACX, if the author or rights holder selects someone else, that generates an email to all the people who auditioned and didn't get the job that says something on the people out there narrators out there will know exactly the message I'm talking about. Regarding your ACX audition that's in the subject line, and then the first line is like a project you recently auditioned for, yada yada yada. Unfortunately, you were not chosen. That unfortunately you were not chosen is another line that's always there. So I made a filter within Gmail to any time a regarding your ACX audition thing comes in that has that unfortunately line. I filtered that out to where I don't see that, because what good does that do you? What good does seeing a rejection do you? This job, your job is to audition. It's a volume game. You need to be sending out tons and tons and tons of auditions, especially at the beginning when you're just trying to build a portfolio, get your foot in the door with some smaller publishers, start to develop that recurring repeat business engine that will sort of carry you through the lean times. So when you're doing tons and tons of auditions, you should be able to separate, you know, to take that rejection, which is what that email really means. It's a rejection. And you should be able to realize that that doesn't, it's a rejection, but it's not a rejection of you as a person, or doesn't mean that they think you're terrible at this job. They just think like you weren't the right voice for this project. And that may be absolutely just the truth of it. There may be another voice that was just more perfectly suited, or it might be what's in their head already. Oh my God, we found the voice, and it was someone else, not yours. So you don't, as well as you may practice good mental health hygiene and meditation and all the good stuff, sometimes just daily seeing no, 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 no come into your inbox, that can start to stack up a little bit. So do yourself the favor, and if you've got the ability on whatever email platform that you use, set up some filters so that you don't see the rejections. Make sure that your filters aren't so broad that you don't see offers, because that would obviously be a big bummer if you missed out on offers, but tailor it just so that you don't see the rejection stuff. So like here, this 29, I know that all 29 of those are either just repeats of like regular communication that I see via email anyway, because those are going to be duplicated here and in my email. But I know that a lot of these are going to be rejections from auditions that I have submitted, and I just never saw them in my email, and so I don't think about them, and everything is happier as a result. So highly recommend doing that. Fire and forget. You can see here my projects. You can see how many auditions have I submitted. 228. And out of that, only 32 offers. Now, granted, at the very beginning, it was more than 50 auditions for me to get my first offer, because I was brand new. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I'm sure the messages I was sending along with my auditions were total garbage. I was recording in a total garbage booth in downtown Houston, probably with loads of traffic and helicopters around. I'm sure if we went back to those first, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. I'm sure if I went back to those first auditions, though, it would be mortifying. But these more recent ones, I feel confident that I did a good job on them, that my sound, my delivery, everything is perfectly acceptable. I know I've got confidence in myself as talent, that I would have done a good job on any of these titles, but it just wasn't the right fit according to the rights holder, and that's fine. The people who did get these jobs, they're going to do killer jobs, and you should be happy for them. There's plenty of work out there to where you don't need to feel any kind of jealousy or sour grapes about someone else getting a job. I'll occasionally see on some of the big Facebook groups people going in and being like, this author picked someone else for a job, and a month later I went and looked at it on on Audible, and it sounded terrible. Like, what a fool that author was to not pick me. Like, what are you doing? Like, it doesn't help you to think that way. It doesn't help you to post that kind of thing publicly. It doesn't help anybody. That's just bad juju. If that's your mindset, this sort of toxic competitiveness, then you're in the wrong industry. That's not how this industry works, especially audiobook narration. This is the coolest, most collaborative, helpful community, because there's so much work available. You're not competing. You're, I don't know, collaborating, man. We're all in this together, and so that really needs to be the mindset as far as audiobook narration, for sure. But even on the voiceover side of things, like I said, there's plenty of work. And if you're not booking, it's not because the universe is conspiring against you. Maybe you just need some more coaching. Maybe we all do. Even top talent, they still get coaching. So you, who's just trying to dip your toe in the water, like, don't have a big head in this industry. Like definitely, humility is an asset. It is an important tool to possess, and so you need to exercise that muscle of humility there. We're going to reload just to make sure we didn't have anything come in. And we might cut the stream short a little bit today because we've got some cool stuff planned. I've got a current project that I'm working on that an audiobook, and it's a really cool series. The author is it's really cool. It's quite gritty. But I think I'm going to approach the author with this idea of letting me live stream actual narration of this book that it's real work. It's not an audition. It's been booked. I've got it. I did book 1. This is book 2. I'll make sure and select a portion of the book that doesn't give away any major plot spoilers, but should maybe if you're listening to the whole thing, maybe you get sort of sucked in and like, oh, this world seems really cool. I'm going to check out book 1, and then maybe by the time I'm done with that, book 2 has been released on Audible. But I want to go through and show the whole process of here's what narrating really, really looks like. Here's what the edit looks like. Then actually go through and do the proofing portion. I use a website called Positron to proof. It's a service that does use the help of AI to basically, it listens to your audio. It looks at the text. So you give them both. You give them the audio you recorded. You give them the text. And it basically compares them. It listens to your audio, it looks at the text, and it's like, did you say the words on the page? Or did you switch a couple words around? Or did you, say this when you meant to say that? It happens, and it can happen frequently as the sessions get longer. So Positron is a lifesaver. It absolutely saves you as talent from looking like a fool in a lot of situations, and it's quite good. It's very, very rare that that someone else will catch a mistake after Positron has given a listen through. And usually those mistakes are things that that Positron would have no business trying to catch, like certain, pronunciation choices, obviously accents and things like that. Positron doesn't know if you're doing a Scottish accent or a Welsh accent and that you mixed those accents up when you were reading these two characters in conversation. Positron will never be able to do something like that. Clip that, and in 20 years, we can all look back and see how silly I look. But that's not what Positron's for. Positron is for, the errors in fact portion of proofing is like, did you say what's on the page? And Positron is also actually good at detecting typos in the text. I've actually had it be useful for that, where I said the grammatically correct thing, and just because naturally our brains kind of do that when you're just quickly reading over something that has a typo, sometimes your brain won't see the typo and it will automatically correct it and say it the way you would say it. And later Positron will flag that. Like, A, you didn't say it was on the page, and it's like, oh, well, it's a good thing I didn't, because that's bad. It shouldn't be there. And so I'll be able to sort of grab that text, flag it for the author, and be like, hey, here's a typo. You should fix this in your manuscript before you print any more copies. And they're grateful for that. So we would go through the narrating, we would go through the editing, we would go through uploading and sort of the whole Positron process, and then the pickups process. So Positron will be like, hey, you have 6 mistakes in this chapter. And Positron generates this really easy to use report with timestamps of everything. Chapter 3 at 2 minutes and 55 seconds, you made a mistake here. Here is the text in context. It's so useful. Here's the text in context to where I don't have to hunt through my own version of the manuscript. I can just read it right off the report. It's brilliant. So that makes pickups are what those are called. In the music world, you might call them punches, but pickups is what we call it in narration and voiceover. That makes pickups really easy. And then I would go through sort of finalizing my output and then upload delivery to ACX, what that looks like. And it's pretty straightforward. But all of this, again, is contingent upon this particular author consenting to to that kind of activity. I have a feeling he will be. He's a younger guy. He's hip to some of this newer sort of social media marketing strategy stuff. So we'll see. I believe I'll talk to him about that later today. So maybe later this week even, but likely next week if we're going to do something like that. We probably want to do some chatting and planning for that. But we are going to cut the stream short today because we're not going to just sit around, shoot the shit, and wait for emails to roll in. Today is Wednesday. Tuesday, in my experience, Tuesday is when a lot of the voiceover jobs roll in. Just for some reason, Tuesday is usually a big day. But we'll see how Thursday and Friday go. So if you enjoyed the stream, I'd love it if you would just stop by, say hello. If you're watching on YouTube now or in the future, highly recommend if you want to chat and get a live response. I don't have anywhere on my screens. I've only got so much real estate. I don't have anywhere on my screens a place for me to watch the YouTube chat. I can only do so much. So I do have Twitch up. So if you've got something that you want to say to me live, please head over to twitch.tv/JimmyVeteranAudio. There's a link directly to it in the description. Head over there and then you can chat with me directly, and live I'll be able to respond to stuff. Let's see here. Hey, we got an invite. Let's take a look at it. I may have spoke too soon about cutting it short, but let's see if we're actually fit for this. We're early because we just saw the email come in. If someone immediately is in, I'm a little bit skeptical of that. I think maybe this talent might have submitted a demo, and that, generally speaking, is a no-no. Do not do that. People are coming here because they want to book something off of a custom audition, especially if they've uploaded a script. What are you doing? Okay, I can say right away, this is not something I'm going to do. Authenticity in voiceover, so important. I don't have anything against, obviously maybe this church does great, fantastic things, but just being authentic to myself and being authentic to the client, we're not a good match. Best of luck to the client, and best of luck to the talent who does find this to be a good fit. Best of luck there. But that's not something that's for me. And I'll say it a million times. Voice talent, know thyself. Know what is for you and what isn't for you. I've got lots of things that I will voice for that I'm not necessarily, that isn't right in my wheelhouse. But I know what I won't voice for because it's not a good fit that I'm gonna be able to deliver with like true authenticity to myself and to the client. So I'm doing both them and myself a favor there. So short stream today, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in, I also have a separate streaming channel for playing games. And on Twitch, I've got those channels linked, but it's unlikely that I'll ever cross the streams, if you will, because I'm trying to keep this channel strictly professional. So if you want to check out more about what I've got going on, the website is simply veteranaudio.com. Got to keep that branding solid. But otherwise, say hi here. You can say hi in the YouTube comments. I will reply there. But love you all. Thanks for stopping by the stream. We'll see you tomorrow at 2 p.m.